Welcome to the Week 6 answer key video for Design 224 CAD Certification at Ivy Tech Community College. In this video, we're going to be walking through the last part of the AutoCAD and its applications prep exam together, which was your Week 6 homework, questions 46 through 50. So we're going to look at these last 5 questions and kind of work through them together. They're practical questions, so they have you open up an AutoCAD file and modify them, and it'll give you a chance to kind of see how I would answer these questions after you've hopefully worked on them on your own, for homework. So remember that these questions reference a series of pre-made AutoCAD drawings that you can download and extract right here. Now, I'm not going to go through the process of downloading and extracting these again. If you need to see that, you can look at last week's videos, and I'll show you right at the beginning of the Week 5 videos how to download and extract these. So we're going to go ahead and jump right into this and work through our last 5 questions, so you can see what the correct answers are and also how to attack each one of these questions. So looking through, they say on question 1, open up the drawing file whole-edit.dwg. So I'm going to jump over to AutoCAD, open up that file and hit open. All right, and then going back, they say use the properties palette to change the radius of the center hole to 0.5635. What is the circumference of the resized hole? So hopefully this is a pretty easy question. So we're going to take this and go to properties. And they said we're going to change the radius, which is right here, to 0.5635. So we'll hit enter on that. And then they want to know the new circumference, which is 3.5406. The other thing you could do if you don't want to mess around with this, if you don't want to go into the properties menu and change it, is you could just draw one with the radius of 0.5635 and just look at this in the properties menu and you get the exact same answer. So you don't really have to open this file and modify it, but for this particular question, there's the answer, 3.5406. So moving on to our next question, open the drawing file plot-offset.dwg. So we'll open that up, hit yes. Okay, and going back to our question, enter the plot command in model space, select the DWF6eplot.pc3 plot style, and the ANSI 22 by 17 paper size. Set the plot area to extents and the scale to 1/2. Okay, so let's, before we get going any farther here, let's go ahead and do some of that. So I'm going to go over and open this drawing and go to the plot menu. Okay, so we've got our plot menu, and they said use the plotter style DWF6eplot, which is the one right here. And our paper size, they said set to ANSI, which is 22 by 17. And there's a billion different paper sizes in here, so make sure you get the right one. So I'm going to go ANSI 22 by 17. Okay, now going back to see some more instructions here. They say set the plot area to extents and the scale to 1/2. Okay, so my plot area down here is going to be extents, and my scale here, I actually want to be 1:2. Or let's just pick it out of the menu here. We'll say 1:2. There we go. Going back, select the center of the plot checkbox. Okay, so we've done that. What are the X and Y coordinates of the plot offset calculated by AutoCAD? Cancel without printing. Okay, so what they're asking is, what are these coordinates down here? So we have a whole bunch of decimal points. So this is where you get your scrap paper ready. And they will definitely ask you questions on the test about this plotting menu. They love to ask questions about plotting because it's kind of frustrating and it's something that people use a lot in the workplace. So they almost always give you questions about this little plot area menu. They like to ask questions about centering and scaling, but more often than not, the questions I've seen are about plot areas, and there are some about pin table assignments occasionally, not too common, but there's almost always a question about this menu. Okay, so I'm going to cancel out of this and go back and key in those numbers. that hopefully you wrote down on your scrap paper. So my x coordinates are 9.35, 7867, and my y coordinates were 6.38, 5312. Okay, going on down, open the drawing file text-height.dwg. So let's close this out. We'll open up text-height. Okay, and they say create a single line text object using the current text style. So we don't have to worry about any settings there. Set the justification to align the text between the midpoints of the two vertical sides of the rectangle. Enter the following text exactly as shown. Okay, so we're going to use align justification for the text. And they want us to type in this, all dimensions in millimeters unless otherwise specified. So beware of spelling on this one. If you spell something wrong, it could mess you up. Well, actually it won't, because if you look at what they're asking for, they say use the properties palette to examine the text properties. No, it will. So using the align will actually, if you type something wrong, it's going to throw off your answer, and I'll show you why. So spelling does matter on this one. Be careful of your spelling. So jumping over here, we're going to use single line text. So I'm going to drop this down, go to single line. And before I pick my start point, I'm going to pick J for justify. And they said to use the aligned justification. Okay. And my first endpoint is going to be the middle of this line. And my second endpoint is going to be the middle of this line. Okay. This is an example of aligned text. It makes the height whatever it needs to be to fit it between these two endpoints. So if you spell something wrong or add an extra letter, it's going to change the height of your text. So that's why I was telling you that spelling matters. If you spell something wrong or put in an extra space, you're going to get the wrong answer for the height of your text at the end because of the justification that we're using. So they said all dimensions in millimeters unless otherwise specified, with a period at the end. So the period will actually change your answer too. Okay, and I'll click out of there and hit escape. And they want to know the text height from my properties menu after I'm done. So double, triple check your spelling, all your spaces, your punctuation at the end. So I'll select that, go to properties, and my height there is 0.2504. So I'll go back and key that in. All right, question 4. Open the drawing file mleader-edit.dwg. So let's close this out. And we'll open up mleader-edit. I'm going to close out properties and maximize this. Okay, so we're ready to go on this one. Edit the current multi-leader style to set the landing distance at 0.125. What are the coordinates of the point labeled A? So pretty easy here. The landing distance is what controls this little guy right here. So they want us to change the setting for that to 0.125 and then see the new coordinates of point A. So the trick on this is, do you know how to change your multi-leader styles? So you can go to your annotate tab, and they're controlled by this little button right here, or you could type in mleader style on your keyboard. So either one will do the same thing. So I only have one multi-leader style in here, so I'm going to modify it, and we're looking for the landing distance. Okay, so there it is right there in our leader structure. So you can see I'm actually looking for it myself. I don't know this menu terribly well because it's not one that I use a lot. But if you look through and you're methodical with the way you approach this, you can find what you're looking for. So my landing distance, they said change to 0.125. Hit OK. I'm going to go ahead and set current just to be safe. Hit close. You can see that this shrinks right here. And then I can use the ID command and my endpoint OSNAP to find the coordinates of that point. And we see that we get X is 5.2502. and Y is 3.8961. So we can jump over and key those in now. And make sure you type them in correctly. You don't want to do all that work and then have a typo and you end up missing the points for it. So double check your answers, double check your typing, your spelling. All right, and our last question. open the drawing file pedit-join.dwg. So we'll close this one out and open up our file, pedit-join. All right, and then going back to the question. The object in this drawing is made up of line objects. Convert the object to a single polyline object using the pedit-join option. What is the total length of the resulting polyline? Okay, so this should be fairly easy. We're going to basically just turn this entire thing into a polyline. So I'm going to use pedit and select multiple. And we're going to select all the objects, hit enter, and it says convert them to polylines, because currently we just have regular lines here, but it wants to know, do I want to convert them to polylines? Yes. Okay, and then I want to join them together, so I'll go to join, and it's going to ask me for a fuzz distance, which honestly I have no idea what this means. I always put 0 from the day I've been using AutoCAD, and it's always worked for me. So I don't really know what this is talking about or what it is. If you were curious, you could probably look it up and figure it out, but it's never really impacted anything I've been trying to do ever at any point in my life. So the fuzz distance I just set on 0 because that's what I've always done. Then I'll go ahead and close. Whoops, escape to back out of there. Okay, then make sure you have a continuous closed polyline, which I do, and they want to know the length of that. So I'll go ahead and go to Properties, and my length is 14.8354. So I can go back and key in our last answer. And there we go. So we'll go ahead and save and submit. Hit OK. And that one took me about 10 minutes, so my 2 minutes per question rule of thumb is pretty good there. So if I could continue that pace through the first part of the test, I would have roughly 50 minutes to go back and review my more difficult questions. Remember, there's 35 total questions, so if you can do about 2 minutes a question, that puts you at 70 minutes, or an hour and 10 minutes, which is going to give you about 45 to 50 minutes to go back and review questions, double check answers, spend more time on some of the harder questions that you're not sure about. So 2 minutes a question is just my rule of thumb as I go through this to make sure that I'm not taking too long. So if you get to 2 minutes and you haven't figured out the answer or you're not close, go ahead and go to the next one. Okay, so 2 minutes a question is a good rule of thumb to live by on your first run through of the test. So I'll go ahead and hit OK. So that completes our part 6 of 6. So we got 10 out of 10 points. So we'll hit OK to go back to the week 6 folder. So those are the answers for our last part 6 of the AutoCAD and its applications prep exam. So over the course of 3 weeks there, we've gone through 30 multiple choice questions and 20 practical questions. So this is actually more than you'll see on the real test. But if you want to go back through and try these, I really like this practice test. I think it's pretty similar to the real thing. So I really like to go through this one together, especially the practical questions, and really get our feet wet with these and practice going through them and do it quickly and use Alt-Tab and key in with the specific number of decimals and just really treat it like it's the real deal test, because I think it's going to help you get ready. So if you're not happy with the score you got the first time when you tried this on your own, or if you tried it more than once and you still couldn't get the score you wanted, now that you've seen me work these, go back and do it again on your own, and that's going to help cement some of these concepts into your brain where you can really recall them and draw them back up the day of the test. So if you didn't like your score, go back and try it again, and remember, Blackboard will record your highest scored attempt for each of the practice tests all semester. So my goal is to get you into the material as much as I can so that you will spend more time preparing and more time studying, and hopefully by doing that increase your likelihood of passing the test, because I want all of you guys to pass the test. That's kind of why we're doing this. So my hope is that we can get as many people as possible to pass this test. So that's it for our week 6 answer key video. If you have any questions, you can email me, jhamilton83@ivtech.edu, or stop by my office at the Glick Technology Building on the Ivy Tech campus in Indianapolis. It's room T316. So go back and give this a try on your own now if you couldn't get 10 out of 10 the first time, and I'll see you in our next video.